Good morning. So I wanted to let everyone know that there is a support folder now for Time Sports Simple Series book for those of you who venture out to purchase and support this version of the Time Sports games. This was published on July 28th. Again, this was originally conceived and first written and designed in 2019, early 2020. But again, I shelved it in favor of Time Sports Complete Simple Series, which uses the letter grades. And this is the original concept, furthering with the advanced, or addition, I should say, support rules or advanced rules. I have completed those this morning, and I have made those available free in the Google Drives. Let's take a look at those. So there is now a new folder in here called, so again, for those who are interested in this concept, can get the Time Sports Complete original book free. However, remember, it's old. It's no longer being supported, but it does use letter grades, which are completely compatible with all the Time Sports games. The Simple Series folder now, it's called Time Sports Simple Series Support. This is where I will put all future expansions or support documents, or if there are people in the community who create things for the games in this series of books, I'll put those up here. Those who share with me and want to share with the community, they will go in this folder. This folder may get more granular depending on how much stuff might come in support of this game. So what I mean by that is if, let's say, Bob makes a soccer league and wants to share his league teams and his, whatever, PDF files, then I'll put a folder in this folder that says Bob Soccer League or whatever, right? So it's called the Time Sports Simple Series Season Simulation Rules. And one of the reasons I was working on the number system was for this exact set of rules that I wasn't able to completely write up because I stopped this book. So I did not finish writing this physically in a digital file so I could publish it with the book or provide it as a free support doc. So I was able to dig out all those old notes and get it all organized and then write it up. And here it is, free, of course. You will need of these games to understand how they work and what these ratings mean. But the concept, at least here, you'll get. And this will be important for those of you who want this style of game, season structure, league and season structure. And why I say this is not everybody's going to want to do what this entails. So the conceits of this are the season is simulated instantly based on your team creation. So for those of you who want, let's say, to make a big league, let's say a 64-team basketball league, as you create the teams in their divisions, you're actually putting them in their division finish. And then you're ready. Once the league is created, you already know how everybody finished their divisions, and you're ready to seed your bracket for your playoffs. So this would be good for, let's say, big high school leagues or maybe even a college universe. Or for me, I've said before, I like 6 to 18 intimate leagues. I want to play big leagues with lots of teams for a lot of dynamism, but I don't want to play those league schedules out. They take forever. And ultimately, I can't build a career that gets me really involved in the long-term process because it's too long to finish a single season. So this concept was developed as I was creating teams in this before I published it. And as I would create teams, I would say, wouldn't it be cool that upon rating teams, that meant something instantly to their season finish. And so I was able to scribble down notes, and as of today, I was able to get the PDF uploaded. This would be version 1. There may be some revisions and some typo fixes, things like that. But all right, so the Time Sports Simple Series Season Simulation Rules. So let's take a look at this. So I described kind of what this is. So I designed the simple series to make the time experience a bit more efficient and faster to set up and play. This book teaches one how team creation and off-season actually simulate the season finish instantly. In keeping with the design intent of the TSS book, is the addition of a new abstracted league rules. These rules can be used for all the sports games in the book. However, one will need to make common sense conversions for sports with goalies. So I do not endeavor to spend a lot of time doing this for every possible sport. Now, it's not to say that I won't eventually do a football one, a soccer one, etc. This is general for all the sports in the book. So there are 5 rules. League play paradigm and assumptions. Rule 1, team creation / off-season sets all league and division or season finish placing for postseason tournament play. We do not play the actual season, but use the ratings to express team finish for postseason actual play. Right? So in other words, as I create a team, I'm going to know based on their ratings what their power is, and that power is going to tell me in their respective division whether they're first, second, third, or fourth, fifth, sixth, eighth, whatever in their division. And then I can put all the teams, once I finish rating every team in their division, I can place those teams in order of finish. I know immediately who won the division and who's a wild card or who's second in the division or league or whatever. Rule 2, postseason and tournament seeding is based on, and I don't know if that's the right term. Is that the right? I never understood whether this was the proper word for seeding tournaments. I have a feeling this is wrong. It doesn't look right to me, but somebody out there might know whether that's the proper word for seeding tournaments or brackets. I don't know why it doesn't seem right to me, but is based on team ratings as league position. Rule 3, play all the postseason and tournament matchups to crown a champion using actual ratings and full game rules. So once I create all my teams and I organize them, I know how all the divisions have been won. So let's say I do an NFL 32 team league. I've got my 8 divisions of 4. I rate every team in the league. And then I sit down and I take my 4 teams in the AFC West and I put them in power order. I know the Broncos are, with their ratings, are 1. The Chargers are 2, the Raiders are 3, and the Chiefs come out, let's say 4. So I already know the Raiders have won the division, and the Broncos, based on their power number, might be a playoff team, right? But I got to organize all 8 divisions, and then I can look at those division finishes and seed my playoffs, but then use the actual games to play out meaningful games. I play out the playoffs and the championships, right? Okay, so the goal is to create, as you finish creating your league, you've already, those actual ratings put them in a position of power in which let's just play the most important games, which are the playoff bracket, right? Rule 3, play all the postseason tournament matchups and crown the champion. Okay. Rule 4, the offseason process is applied to all league teams, and these changes immediately inform us to next season's finish. So when you do your offseason and you re-rate now every team and put them all through the offseason, that's part of the process. When you're rolling up their ratings, you're technically simulating their season. And when you roll up ratings and you put them in their place in their division, that's their season play. In the offseason, as you roll up all their offseason changes and organize them in their divisions in their new power finish, you've actually finished season 2. And then, of course, you would do off-season again, and it would put them in a position, and that would be season 3 and 4. And so technically your season becomes rating the teams and organizing them in their divisions for their finish. That's the season portion. Then you use the games to play the most important games. All right, Rule 5, repeat Rule 1 through 4 for long-term fast career play. Team creation or off-season process team ratings will place the teams in a power structure, which will place teams in a division finish positions or season table positions. When we create or process a team through the off-season, we change its ratings in all 3 attributes, i.e. offense, defense, and comeback for football. These ratings will immediately inform us of the team's quality and league finish among its peers for the season. Players must build the league structure, create or / off-season all teams in the league before we can place them in season division finish order and play the postseasons. Example. We build a European Soccer Association, the ESA, of 4 league tiers of 6 clubs for a universe of 24 clubs. A Premier tier, a Division 1 tier, a Division 2, and a Division 3. Each tier represents its own little league, and the top 2 clubs in each tier will be promoted to the next tier, while the bottom 2 teams in each tier will be regulated downward before we start the off-season and continue our careers. We will not name all the teams and rate them here, but to make the player aware, the next table of values could apply to any and all teams in your universe. So, let's say I roll up a team. I create a team, and they come out, their first rating is 2, their second rating is 1, and their special rating is 1. This team would be a power place of 5th just in general. But there are other 3 teams in their division. A team comes out 3rd, a team comes out 9th, and a team comes out 19th. Well, they would be 2nd in that division. So you would have a team that came out 3rd. In that division would be 1st. They would be 2nd. The team that has a 9th place would be 3rd in that division, by the way. This would be division opponents. And then that last team, 19th, would be 4th in that division. Now, you want to keep that number, though, because that could help you decide tiebreakers for wild cards, things like that. So, as I create my teams, I'm actually determining how they finished in their division, if that makes sense. There's 27 possibilities for team, 27 possibilities for team positions. Remember, I talked about the value of the simple series originally was we used number ratings instead of grades. And those number values add up to the charts that you're going to use for scoring in the actual games. So 0 is a great defensive rating. A 2 is a great offensive rating, and a 1 is average. So, why is a 2-0-2 in this situation? First, well, because we've got if this was football, this would be a top offense, a top defense, and a top comeback. They would be the best possible ability for a football team. However, this is why I make the note that you'll need to make common sense conversions. There'll be those of you who want to play soccer or hockey. This rating for hockey and soccer is bad because this means your goalie. This is the goalie rating. 2 means he gives up a lot of shootout goals, right? So what you're going to want to do with goalie-based games is this team would be number 1. They would be a great attack team, a great defense team, and have a brilliant goalie. This would be a top-ranked hockey team. So if you're going to, and I don't pretend to do that, as I said before, since most of the games, top 3 ratings are in alignment with offense, defense, and special is generally good. The goalie is aligned with defense. So this would be bad for a team with a 2. So for instance, a 2-2-2, or let's say a 0-2-2. Where are they at? Where's my 0? So a 0-2-2 in soccer would be horrendous, right? No attack, horrible defense, and the worst possible stopping goalie for shootouts. So this would be in hockey and soccer the worst possible outcome for you. So you'll need to kind of reevaluate these ratings and set your own power places based on the sport you're playing. I don't attempt to do that. So be aware that you'll need to recognize that 2-0-2 in hockey and soccer, this ain't going to be first. But in football, this is first. In basketball, this is first. In baseball, baseball doesn't use a 3rd rating. This would be an intangibles rating, which I'll talk about. This would be first in baseball. So this would be first in almost every sport except the goalie sports. So 2 goalie sport games in the book, these numbers should be reversed for your power plays. Okay, so I think I've talked about that. Once all teams are rated or re-rated, which would be off-season. So remember, your whole season portion is rating the teams, organize them in their division finish, and now I'm ready to seed my postseason tournament and actually play those games, crown my champion, and then go through the off-season. And as I go through the off-season and I re-rate all the teams, then that's a process of simulating the next season. So I'm re-rating every team. I'm reorganizing the divisions, which is going to put them in their place of finish, and I'm ready to seed the next season's bracket. and it doesn't matter how long my season is. This could be 162 game baseball. I'm going to take, if I have a 32 team baseball league, it's going to take me a little while to rate every team and re-rate every team in the off season, but that's how I'm simulating the season. And then when I place them all in their division finish, we know that, the Braves have won their second division title and they're going to be in the pennant race, right? Or they're going to be in the postseason series, right? So, all right. Okay. So here's an example. I'm going to make my 6 team. So I already know these 6 teams are in the primo tier because I organized my ESA, my fictional league up here, the 24 team soccer league with 4 divisions of 6 teams. Remember, these would be their own league. They'd play their own schedules. But again, I don't care about schedules. I don't care about playing those games. I only care about rating the teams. And by the way, in rating those teams, guess what happens? I end up with my premier team, top 2 teams, based on their ratings. And again, over here, I would put my simulated record, or I would put my finish place for the whole, for this particular league. So this would be, by bar none, number 1. And again, I'll talk about winning percentage to determine win-loss records in a second. Brant would be number 2. Carves this defense. Again, what I said, remember, this might not be ideal. I just took it off the charts, but technically, a team with an attack of 2 and a defense of 2 is not ideal. Their goal is solid, but their defense is not good. However, their offense is better than everybody else. So Branton would probably finish second in this simulation. And then Mearsville and Thickets will just miss out. They won't be promoted. Well, they can't be. Once you're in a premier, in this particular league structure, there is nowhere for these 2 teams to go. They wouldn't be promoted above primo. These 2 teams at least avoid regulation, but they won't be in the postseason tournament. And these 2 teams would be relegated down for next season into Division 1. And the 2 Division 1 teams that finished at the top would come up for primo. But before I would re-roll all these and simulate the next year, I want to seed my little tournament. So all 4 of my division top 2s would all be seeded, and we'd play out one more championship trophy using the top 2 from each division. So a Division 3 team could somehow, some way manage to be champions of the league, even though they're in the 3rd division. Okay. This above primo order is how the teams finish the season. Alton FC and Branton will play in the ESA tournament seeded. Or again, if you have a larger soccer universe, maybe you've already decided primo, they're the league champs. These 2 would go on to play in, let's say, maybe a larger soccer world bracket that you want to use. I don't know. It's none of my business how you set up your universe. I'm just showing you how you can simulate finishes by creating teams. Where am I at here? Seeded is 1 and 2, and they will not be promoted because unless you envision a league above the primo. So these 2 teams might end up joining some other Premier League or something, Super League or something. Who knows? Hampheath and Coulter would be regulated downward into Division 1, and the top 2 Division 1 clubs would be promoted for next season. But you'd want to play your tournament before you re-rate the teams to simulate Season 2. If the teams are tied, flip a coin to place, or however you want to do tiebreakers. But because we're not playing season games, there are little things like this you'll have to kind of work out for your own universe. After all my teams are rated in the league and each team place, we can seed the postseason bracket, use the Time Simple Series games to play all the actual games, crown a champion, reorganize the tiers, which would be promotion, relegation, and soccer, and start the off-season reseeding all division finishers for the next season's championship bracket. In other words, once I start re-rating teams for off-season play, that will be their finish for Season 2. Now, season win-loss records. A note on season win-loss records. Players may attempt to assign actual records by assigning a win percentage to each power value and divide all league games by this number for total wins and therefore losses. So as an example, season records formula. If one assigns the first win percentage to 833, so we go up here, and I could have put in another column that had win percentage assigned to these. And let's say in my universe, 833 is the best finish a team can ever have, right? And I'm going to play 162 games of baseball. 162 times 83%. They're going to win 134 baseball games. That's the best the team can ever finish in the history of my baseball league, right? if that makes sense. Okay. So you could set this to more, so in the MLB, for instance, if you know that in the history of the MLB, the best winning percentages are about 63%, then set your top guy at 63% and set the bottom and, have these tiers broken up by 3% or 5% or whatever you want to break it up. And the dead worst possible team in baseball would be, 23% win percentage. No one's ever gone completely defeated in baseball. All right. So again, what you're going to encounter in this little formula is you get to dictate the best possible outcomes for teams and the worst possible performance. And then very simply, you just do the math. My soccer league would have 32 game league, and I'm going to multiply my top first finisher. That team would win 26 games for a record of 26-6 in my soccer season. Again, how do I count for draws? Well, that would be based on if anybody I would only do draws if I had teams tied in my little division. So let's say in my finish here, I had two teams at 210, right? So I had 210 and 210, and then I would coin flip, and Alton won the coin flip, so they won the Premier League's top spot. I would assign draws to these two teams, so I would probably say they might have, be 26, 2-2, and the other team would be 25, 2-1 or something. So I might just devise a way to give draws to any teams anywhere that have tied ratings. But again, I don't attempt here to tell you how to do that because I don't know what people might dream up. Are you doing a college thing? Are you doing a big, huge professional FIFA soccer universe with so you're going to want to custom tailor your ideas to those things. This book does not attempt to value win percentage and math to the power places. However, we suggest each player that when building their leagues assign a maximum possibility for records. One can now decide before playing just how much parity will exist in their league's history. Can a team go undefeated in your universe? If you want teams to be able to go undefeated, you need to have that first equal to 100%. So if I was doing the 1972 NFL and I was just going to seed the NFL, any team that comes out top would be undefeated, right? But obviously if you're rolling randomly up teams, the Dolphins probably won't be that team, right? But you get my point. If you wanted there to be a chance that teams in your league could go undefeated, like a high school. So high school, you see a lot of undefeated teams in high school. So if you were doing a high school universe, you would definitely you might even have 1 and 2 undefeated, right? And then everybody else falls in line, right? So just assign a win percentage based on the universe that you believe you want your leagues to represent. Okay, so I think I explained that pretty well. Not in mine, but hey, my leagues are top-notch, tough competition. So I would not have teams that could go undefeated. I actually despise undefeated results. It doesn't make me think that those are great teams. It makes me think they're watered-down leagues. I tend to see undefeated seasons as representation of of really poor competition. Sorry, that's just me. I think, obviously high school, it's a different animal, but high schools can have huge discrepancies in talent. Matter of fact, one great player can help a high school team go undefeated. So, this would be referring to pro. When I see a team like the Patriots go undefeated in modern football, it makes my stomach churn because it tells me that the rest of the league, number one, there's cheating going on. Number two, the rest of the teams are just inept. I don't see it so much as the Patriots being dominant, although they were clearly dominant in every category until it came to beating the Giants in the Super Bowl. And we find out, well, maybe they weren't that good after all. But my point is, I don't like to see professional sports where teams can be dominant. It happens all the time, and that's sport, but I would set mine where it's not, the parity is going to be, a top team might be a 72 win percenter, right? Okay. But that's me, right? That would be for my leagues. Again, it's up to you for yours. But if this was, say, a boxing, you wanted to simulate how a year of boxing came out for your heavyweights. Let's say you have 50 heavyweights. You don't want to fight all those fights. As you rate your heavyweights, you'll know immediately that the top heavyweight went undefeated that year. He might be 8-0. Right? And you can base his knockouts on his knockout rating. So a 2 is the best possible knockout. So you would have him go 8-0 with 8 knockouts, right? So you can customize your stuff. I don't want to spend a lot of time explaining that, but some of the TSS games only feature 2 ratings. Baseball and racing only have 2 ratings. But with that said, I'd assign a 3rd rating to these teams as an intangible. So go ahead and roll up all 3 ratings, right? Driver, pit crew, intangible, right? And so you can get a team that has this intangible rating, right? Just for league finish, right? If you were doing a big NASCAR and you wanted to just race the final race of the season or something, right? That's why you would do that. Okay, but what does this reflect? It reflects teams that kick ass during the season. But when it comes to the postseason and they're facing tougher competition, reality comes to those teams. So that intangibles in like baseball and boxing would maybe help place them as season division winners. But then they get to the postseason when they're facing other teams as good as them. Those intangible ratings in the normal game don't show up. There is no need for it, but it would be great for your season. But then that goes away to simulate your postseason play. This is only a guideline for power places based on ratings. Those who scrutinize the chart for goalie-based games, hockey and soccer, will find these power places could be refined to actual rating value on the game charts. So I've already talked about that. I already pointed out that this is not a good goalie rating. So for hockey, a 2-0-2 would not be first. The 2-0-0 would be first, right? Because you want a 0 goalie. Remember, in the goalie games, my goalie charts are commiserate with my defense charts, right? I never have this weird thing where a 2 goalie in a game where a bad defense would also be, but this would be a good goalie. So you're just going to have to keep that in mind if you're doing soccer or hockey. All right, everybody, I'm done talking about this. I will put a link directly to this league structure, and we're good to go. All righty, bye-bye.